What's going on, everyone? Gilman with Wellthy Stocks back with our daily Apple update video where we take a look at how Apple stock traded today, some key support and resistance levels that we are looking at moving into the future, and based on that, what we think Apple stock could do. So real quick, if you enjoy videos like this, hit that like button down below, subscribe to my channel if you are new, and comment down below what your thoughts on Apple are, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. So let me pull up Apple's chart here for us and hit record. We will get right into it. So not a great day for Apple, but also not a great day for big tech in general. Apple was down at $3.07, which is about 2.32%. If we take a look at the NASDAQ, right, also red about 1.25%. Dow was down 87 points, which is 0.28%, and then S&P was down about 0.67%. So, not a great day for big tech, as you can see. NASDAQ gapped down, tried to recover, couldn't quite, and then sold off. Dow, on the other hand, didn't really sell off that much, but S&P also recovered a little and then sold off into the close. So what happened with Apple? Well, there was a couple pieces of news that I kind of wanted to talk about, right? The first one being big tech stocks. They kind of slumped after banning Trump. So I'm sure you guys know what happened over the weekend. But he's banned from Twitter. And they also got rid of Parler, which they claimed, was inciting violence. So that was the reason that they are down, but I don't necessarily think that they're down because of Parler. I think it's more about, the action that some of these big tech companies took against Trump, as well as the understanding that, look, Dems are now in control. Big tech is not necessarily viewed upon as a positive light from their eyes, right? So that was a really weird way to say what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Democrats aren't in favor of big tech. Actually, a lot of government, whether it's Democrat or Republican, aren't in favor of big tech. And this brings up kind of a fresh topic of discussion, right? Do they have too much power that they can just boom, ban someone from having access? So that's why, Twitter was actually the one that really took a fall, down 6.5%, and Facebook. But Amazon, Google, and Apple were a part of this because, they understand that there could be regulatory restrictions, right? Regulatory pressure over the coming months. This was a reminder, essentially, that, this could be coming, which led to a little bit of a sell-off, right? The other thing that I want to talk about, though, is this article that was published today. It talks about Apple as it tests this 21-day moving average. Now, this is one of the moving averages that I always look at, right? 821.34, and then 55 and 89 as well. But it talks about, yes, it is testing it, but some good news that could be coming is that they are in the early stages of a major upgrade within their first 5G iPhones. And then this is what I really like seeing. 19 of the best mutual funds invested an estimated $670 million into Apple, right? And based on that, institutional demand for Apple has remained strong because of things like, and this is kind of what I mentioned in my video yesterday, right? The ecosystem that they're building, right? We're talking about Apple Music, App Store, Apple TV Plus, Apple News, Apple Pay, iCloud. We focus a lot on the iPhone numbers, and that is still the bread and butter for Apple, right? That's what drives a lot of these other things. You're not going to have App Store if you don't have the iPhone, but a lot of these other sources are coming up with great sort of ways to increase revenue for Apple. And not only that, continuous revenue for Apple, right? If you have Apple Music, that's $10 a month times 12 months a year times forever if you decide to keep Apple Music. Whereas a phone is maybe every 2 years, maybe every 3, 4, 5 years, right? Depending on when people upgrade. So just wanted to remind you guys that, it is a red day, but there is some news. I wanted to share why we kind of saw that red day, as well as why, this article that came out that really talks nicely about institutional investors are still bullish on Apple, invested in Apple because of these reasons, which is kind of what I covered in my video yesterday as well. Getting to the stock now, let's take a look at, how it traded today, and so we could get an understanding of, what the future could bring. So if you guys remember, on Friday, we were taking a look at 132. Today, we dropped down all the way to our level here. Remember this level that we moved up just a little bit to 130.24. We broke below it before opening, right? So now This level was going to be a resistance point, right? If we're above a level, that level is going to be support. If we're below it, it's going to be resistance. We opened right here, try to push up, couldn't, try to push up again. This time, I mean, we got pretty darn close to this level. We got up to 130.18, which is about 6 cents away. Couldn't quite break through it, right? So we sold off a little bit, found some support near 129s. Let me get the VWAP. I don't know why the VWAP wasn't on. As you can see, bounce off VWAP, went down, came up, bounce off VWAP, and then try to make a push. This time getting rejected at the 130 level, so couldn't even make it past that towards this 130.24. And then we kind of sold off in the second half of the day, broke below VWAP, tried to go up, couldn't quite make it, and then sold off, down another 2 cents after hours. So as you know, we saw with the news, increased regulation could be coming, so it might be some choppy waters for big tech coming up here. So let's take a look at, the chart, and we'll see what we see. So yesterday's video, I was talking about, making higher highs, higher low, and we wanted to see if that pattern could continue. On the downside, we talked about, this 130.24 level, then we talked about the 21 EMA, and then we talked about 126.65. Now, in yesterday's video, I talked about, the 21 EMA being good support. But, with everything that we saw today, with the red day that we saw in big tech, it might be broken in the next couple of days if we see more downward pressure, right? So let's take a look at our levels of support and resistance. On the upside, right, what we have is this 130.20s level of resistance, which is going to be our first level of resistance. And then we also have the AEMA at 130.44, and then we've got kind of these this high of 132.63 and then 133.45, right? So on the upside, those are the levels I'm watching, right? If Apple starts to go tomorrow, 130.20s, I'm watching it to recapture that 130.44, which is the AEMA. Then I'm watching for a push towards the high on Friday, which was 130.23, or excuse me, 132.43. I was looking at the low for whatever reason. 132.43, and then I'm watching this break of 133.45. That's gonna take a little bit of momentum to get through those levels. On the downside though, we are right here. I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. As you can see, last week we got a nice bounce off of the 21 EMA a couple times, and we closed above it. Now we are above it right now. The 21 EMA, as you can see in that number right there, is 128.93. We are 128.98, but I mean, we're like 5 cents away from it, 2 cents, 3 cents away, depending on where we see it in after hours. So if that level holds, I'd like to see that level hold, but if it doesn't, we could drop to the 34 EMA, which is kind of right at this next level that we have anyway, which is 126.78. Then we've got, 125 as a mental support before we drop to 123.87, which is going to be the 55 EMA. I was bullish. I am bullish on Apple going into earnings, but, today's kind of regulatory and everything that came up is going to make this a little bit choppier. I do still think Apple will run into earnings. That's my personal opinion. Again, don't just trade based on that, right? I do think that as we get closer to earnings, which are in about 2-ish weeks, 2 weeks and then some change, I do think we run into that, but I think there could be a little bit of choppy waters before, between now and then, essentially, if we get, if the Democrats come out and say, hey, we are going to do X against big tech, we could see a little bit of a fall. And then it's a matter of where I find support. I was hoping for the 21 EMA to be support. Still hoping for that, right? We broke below it, but we closed above it. But if not, then hopefully the 34 EMA can act as really good support, and then we could start to consolidate and push up into earnings, assuming we don't get any other negative news from the government side of things. So that's all I had for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below what your thoughts on Apple are, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.